We have a video here by Cash Jordan. Illegals invade Walmart. ICE deports entire superstore in 23 minutes.
ICE just raided a Walmart and deported someone. Whoa. Oh.
Wait, what?
Get back to work. I need you to leave. This is private
All the
property.
staff are kicking people out.
You need me to leave?
Yeah.
Why?
Escort her. Yeah.
According to ICE, the man seen by customers being taken into custody is illegally in the United States from Venezuela. The agents defended their...
They did the thing. They did the thing. The Venezuela.
into custody is illegally in the United States from Venezuela. The agents defended their use of the taser, saying that the suspect fled from arrest into the crowded...
From Ireland. The man was deported from Ireland.
Walmart resisted arrest and, quote, posed an immediate threat to the safety of agents, shoppers, and employees. According to investigators,
his name is Charlie McLaughlin.
the man had been in trouble with the law even beyond illegal entry, claiming, quote, days earlier, the alien had been arrested by the Albuquerque Police Department for driving under the influence, resisting arrest, evading police, and obstructing an officer. Given this pattern of behavior, this individual is considered a danger to the community.
Doesn't sound like a nice guy, but there are some people who are very upset ICE has to go to Walmart to do its job.
This person says Davy Molina Pena was in the country illegally.
That's a
from
crime
Venezuela. They claim Molina Pena fled from agents on July 7th, running
so
into
dangerous.
the Walmart at Coors and I-40,
That puts everyone
leading
in
them
danger.
to tase him. City Councilor Clarissa Pena was there a few hours later. People stopped her, showed her the video, and expressed their concerns.
Seen the video. I was just in there, and I could have been in there with my grandchildren, and for them to witness something like that would be pretty traumatic.
Okay, so what? ICE was supposed to let him
talked to a
go?
higher up at Walmart. She says they told her it's not their policy. APD addressed the video earlier today.
This incident at the Walmart, we know that they deemed the individual a threat to public safety because they had been arrested days before and had...
So, like, I wonder, did they say what this guy did? And then did they just, like, kind of,
fled from officers in a motor vehicle and endangered the public.
So it's not even, guys, it's not even like this guy was like an upstanding citizen, right? It's not even like, he's not even like the, like, oh, he's just an illegal, but like he just taking care of his family, just like a model citizen. It's like, they're not even going after those people yet. They're only going after like crazy people. And then and people have like a problem with it. Like, it's so weird.
And he fled again by running into Walmart.
APD arrested him days before this incident. Court records show state police arrested Molina Pena early in the morning on June 26th. The police report says he ran from a traffic stop before stopping on Central.
So he's running in his vehicle too.
He was arrested for DUI, failure.
If you're here illegally, you're already breaking the law. You're like a criminal by default. No matter what you want to say about like, oh, like these people are not criminals, they're just trying to like live their lives. They're still criminals because they broke the law. They like very like clearly broke the law to like live in a place that they're not supposed to be. Like they literally, like, if you think about it, they're like trespassing on our country. So consider it like that way. So like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if they don't do like a secondary crime. I can see why they would go after the most dangerous people first. I'm not, not saying that they're dangerous, but they're going after like the more dangerous people first. Like that makes sense to me. But again, it has nothing to do with them, like whether or not they committed the crime or not, because they already did.
Maintain traffic lanes, no insurance, and evading an officer.
No insurance, evading an officer, fleeing, and not being of the right state of mind to operate a vehicle. Do we need any more of an explanation why people like this are getting arrested? But as you're about to see, Walmart's not the only place activists do not want to see ICE at all.
I was right on the scene as they arrived, and it was really a scary thing to witness.
An ICE operation inside a Linda Vista apartment complex.
Guys resisting.
A little too close to home for many residents.
Things just started escalating from there. The screaming went back and forth.
The operation not
Whose
far
fault
from
is
the
that?
front door of Bob Hansen.
Just disturbing all in all. Hits home differently. We got a good community over here. Nobody causes any trouble.
Several people taking out their phones to capture the moment.
And my first instinct was to take my phone out and to take a picture or record anything to show that there was ICE presence. And
some, like this neighbor who asked to not be on camera, stop short.
Unfortunately, I didn't feel like I had the right to record and not be subject to being detained myself.
Well, okay, when you're going to get this close to an officer and be right in their face while they're trying to make an arrest, yeah, you might end up getting detained, especially if you're impeding the takedown of somebody who's a menace to society and shouldn't even be here.
In the United States.
The scene still sending shockwaves of concern and even fear in this community.
Oh my goodness.
It makes me very angry.
Why?
And
what
I'm
if he's
scared
dangerous?
For my other neighbors.
We reached out
and
to
the thing
DHS
is you
for
have
details on
this is 100% true. Like what Cash is saying here is like you don't even know what they did. Like most of these like people, like these like kind of like left-leaning people that are like oh my god, you're arresting them, like this is like the worst thing ever. Like they don't even know what they did. Like they're just making an assumption, you know, and this is, you know, I mean, to be fair, this is because of the media. The media has been brainwashing people into thinking like, oh yeah, they're scooping up like, you know, the dad that's just trying to take care of their family and like, you know, just trying to like earn like a hard day's work or whatever. Like he just wants to like, you know, they're basically saying that it's those people. And again, like, you know how I feel about it. Like I still think it doesn't matter in that case, right? But the media has been basically brainwashing people into thinking that ICE is swooping in and just tearing families apart for no reason. That ICE is doing this because they're evil. That they're doing this for some like nefarious purpose to like you know, specifically like, oh yeah, they just hate freaking Latinos. That's like the reason why they're doing this, right? That's what they try to tell everybody. So like, of course, like if you're like fucking, you know, you're like room temperature IQ and that's all you hear, you're just like, oh, you know what? True. I'm going to record this because this is very bad. Like, I have to say, like, no, like, this is terrible. Like, how could you be doing this? How could you be so racist? And like, how could you want to tear families apart? Like, you're literally the worst, right? And of course, like, they would think that, right? Like, if you think about it from their point of view, then of course they would think that. So that's why you have a lot of people doing this. But again, like, if you really think about it, if you think about it for more than 5 seconds, guys, that's my new motto, guys. That's gonna be like the new Leaflit motto is if you thought about it for more than 5 seconds. If you think about it for more than 5 seconds, they don't even know what this person's getting arrested for. They literally don't know, and yet like they're making a stink. Like this guy could have killed like 20 people. You could have killed 20 people. You see like ICE detaining a person who killed like 20 people, and then you're just like, but he's Latinx, guys. He's a Latinx. I have to save him. Like I have to, guys. I have to. Like this is an outrage against the Latinx people, and then like they have to like get in the middle and like interfere with it, and like they don't even know. Again, like they don't even know why.
Operation. In a statement, a spokesperson told 10 News, ICE San Diego is actively investigating immigration crimes in San Diego County. Among the agents, San Diego police also on scene.
That's going to be my new quote, guys. Guys, I want to put that on my channel. Listen, I'm going to change the panel at the top of my YouTube. You know, the little panel on my YouTube at the top, like with the links and stuff. I'm going to put a picture of me there, and it's going to have in quotes, if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. That's going to be my channel theme, guys.
Department says it received a 911 call to cover and maintain peace and safety while HSI agents were in the area.
Thank God they showed up.
Local activist Arturo Gonzalez rushed to the scene to
Charlie McLaughlin.
record what he could.
Seeing what was
Because these activists are rushing to the scene to record what they can and get so close that maybe somehow the person getting arrested.
I'm going to do that from now on, guys. Next time I'll be like, and then in Japan, during the war, Oda Nobunaga led his army with arquebuses.
Escapes. Listen to this.
Local activist Arturo Gonzalez rushed to the scene to record what he could.
seeing what was going on and knowing that someone that I had just spoke to on the phone was detained by ICE and they're an American citizen.
We have asked DHS if any U.S. citizens were detained during Wednesday's operation and have yet to hear back.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of families thinking ahead and planning for the worst, and that's all that we can do right now.
So you're supposed to believe from watching this that ICE went to an apartment complex and is trying to deport Americans, but that's not what's happening. Every time we get a story like
Antonio Bander.
Like this, it's because people got way too close and impeded an investigation.
Hey, let him go! Let him go!
It's like Benito Mussolini.
Neighbors ran into the street Tuesday.
I'm gonna do that from now on now.
At Terracina Circle in Spring Valley.
I don't know why they always do it. They always do it like specifically like with Latin names. Like I don't really hear them do that with like other names because I feel like maybe it's too hard or something.
To confront HSI agents making an immigration arrest.
Look how close.
Like, have you ever heard them do that with like a different name? I've never heard that. It's always like some Latino name that they do that.
They're between the two cars?
They busted the window, they cut the seatbelt off of him.
Well, all he had to do was get out of the car.
And they started dragging him out.
When the daughter tried to intervene.
And so, Gorlami. A river dirty.
The agents handcuffed her and threatened to take away her little brother and her 2-year-old son.
Okay, if you get arrested and your children are alone, the police have to make sure your children are in a safe place. And that's not something that this mother was obviously thinking about.
Later released at the scene.
So I realized that my son and my baby brother were in the house alone. And if they took me, they were going to be left alone and they were going to
Thank you for thinking of what would happen to your kids if you got arrested.
Agents carrying the father and placing him in the back of an unmarked pickup truck. Earlier that same morning, agents had arrested Manley's mother as she arrived at a downtown apartment complex where she works as a maid. The daughter confirms the couple crossed into the United States decades ago from Mexico.
Okay.
And were in the process of applying for a visa.
Well, that process doesn't take decades. What are we talking about, 20, 30 years? At a certain point, you've got to do things the right way, hopefully before you...
That's not an excuse, right? And this is the thing. It's like, even if it took you 30 years to get American citizenship, it doesn't matter because you don't deserve it. It's a privilege.
To even come in. There's no excuse for this.
First of all, it's frightening. Second, it smacks of totalitarianism.
Really?
And authoritarianism.
Oh, come on.
Civil rights attorney Gene Iredale says he has concerns about the agents wearing masks.
Many times people mask up because they want to do something illegal or unethical.
Oh, really? So now we're concerned about that. I see.
Go and not be able to be identified. So
yeah, you just want to identify them so you can dox them.
A good person in a mask from a bad person in a mask.
I think
Isn't this literally what people said before about everyone wearing masks? God, it's gotta be... These people have no fucking consistency. They have no beliefs.
It's pretty easy. They've got vests that say that they're Homeland Security, their badges are on the outside, and they're there arresting people who aren't in the country legally. What's the problem? I'm telling you, these protesters think they can get away with anything.
Fairview police say 62-year-old Linda Roglin and one of the protesters got into a verbal argument.
Okay.
It happened to be caught on video. A worker at a pizza shop across the street started recording the protest because he says he thought it was interesting, happening right outside the window here at Fairview and Anderson Avenues. He saw the verbal confrontation between the two.
I don't know what they said.
Spit in her
they
face.
say something to each other, and then he spits in her face.
Oh,
he says he never
peaceful.
expected to see that. A protest organizer tells us she told that protester to walk away after hearing the driver tell him, "I love ICE." But the argument escalated. The guy spit at the woman, and that's not okay either, says Julio Torres. He says protesters need to avoid reckless behavior too, especially for some...
Yeah, okay, this is obviously very reckless behavior, and these people are attacking vehicles in the street, attacking the drivers of those vehicles. That's a terrifying situation. What do you think should happen to those protesters?
Like America, we're here with Stephen Miller, as you know, is great advisor to the President, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Stephen Miller, to set the table, we're witnessing the greatest political and cultural power grab in the history of the West through this immigration process, the open borders, no vetting,
it's crazy.
No deportation. They have their judges in place to undermine everything our president wants to do. And now they've called out their violent militia, which they do.
Yo, hey guys, do you think they'd change their mind if you did this? Like, what if you did this law? Like, just as a thought experiment, like, what if you did this law? Okay, you want the illegal people here because you're really worried about the families and the labor? Okay, well, how about this? None of them can ever be citizens. None of them can ever vote. And they don't count on census for a districting. Do you think they'll still be okay with illegal immigrants? What do you think, Chad? You You think they'll be like, yeah, that's all we wanted the whole time. We just wanted them to like live comfortably, you know?
From time to time, 2020 and other times.
They'll overturn that law in 8 years. Yeah, but like I'm wondering like if they would agree to that. You know what I mean? Like I want like honestly like I would want to debate somebody about the illegal immigration thing, and like what if I said that? Like what if I use that as like a point? Like I said, okay, would you agree with this law? Where if what's your main concern, right? And if they're like saying like if their concern is like, oh, I'm just concerned about like people like living like free. I was like, okay, I mean, living here and like, you know, they can live here and like work here. Like, okay, well, like what if by doing that they sign a paper that says that they give up their right to ever be a citizen? They can never vote, but then like they can still work here. They can still work and live here, like sure, but then they can never vote. Do you think they would agree to that? Probably not.
They are trashing law enforcement yet again. They're trashing ICE.
Yep.
By the way, I would still say no to that. That's not an argument from me. That's not an argument of like what I would do. Obviously, I wouldn't do that just in case like you like think that's the case. I'm just making a probing question to find out like what their beliefs are, if that makes sense.
ICE is under attack.
Because if they say no, then you can eliminate any argument about like, oh, we care about like the families being torn apart. Oh, like they just want to like make a, you know, they just want to have like a like money for their family. Like it would take away those arguments, right? If you did that
before by the Democrat Party militia. What do you make
as like not being the most important?
Well, you've laid it out perfectly, Mark. Let me zoom out a little bit and provide some broader historical context. The left has been trying to shove Marxism.
Bruce says, I think it's a really bad idea that they would be legitimately counted on census. That's why I said they don't count for census in the hypothetical. I actually added that in because I knew that they would say that.
Socialism and communism down the throats of the American people for generations now.
Yeah.
They ultimately were not able to do this during the Cold War because the middle class revolted against communism and
the kids will be citizens and they have a lot of kids. You would add that too, yeah. You'd be like, well, and your kids can never be citizens. Like if you know, like even if they're born here, it'd be the same thing. You'd say the same thing, right, Sissy? You'd have to add all of these caveats.
The left shifted their tactics. The Democratic Party shifted their tactics.
The point of asking those kind of questions, like hypothetical questions like that, is not to propose like a reality that you want. It's basically to unearth the root belief of anything. It's to unearth like the root belief. Like, and this is like this is like a thing that you can basically it targets specific beliefs and lets you know their matter of importance, basically. Like where they're willing to compromise and what is the most important thing that they care about.
Migration as a weapon to break down the middle class and to gain political power and control in this country. They use migration to destroy our public education system, to destroy our healthcare system, to destroy wages and working conditions for the middle class of this country, and in effect to destroy social and community cohesion.
Herman says this to create scientifically neutral ground. Yeah, it's like you have to have like some kind of like foundation because otherwise there's no way you could even discuss things, right? So like that's why like, you see a lot of times like when I mean you saw this when I was like arguing with like I argue with Tazito. I'll say, okay, I'm gonna assume what you're saying is right, even you know, like I'm not saying that he's right. I'm saying that during the argument I will assume that you're right, and of course if you're lying or you're wrong about your facts, then it changes my opinion on it, right? But that way you can have a discussion at all. Right, because like for instance, if you try to talk to me about the Zimmerman, right, the Zimmerman thing, when I was talking to Tazito about Zimmerman, I basically like prefaced the argument with, okay, I'm gonna assume that your facts about the case are right. Because if I don't even like agree with on that level, where I say, okay, I'm gonna assume that what you're saying is right. So any of my beliefs is like basically like predicated on the fact that that's true. Right, because otherwise what's going to happen is he's going to say, yeah, like this happened in the Zimmerman case. I'm saying, I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's not what happened. Right, and then you can't really have an argument because it's just going to be like, well, this is what happened. I'm like, I don't believe it. That's not what happened. Oh, but then like, you know, and then here's the data. Oh yeah, I don't believe that data. Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe any of that. The data doesn't, you know, why would I believe any of that? Right, and then how do you even have an argument at that point? Because now you're just arguing like the validity of sources and like you can't actually have a discussion about the actual morality of a thing. or the morality or viability of something.
And then in that rubble, in that chaos.
What if he intentionally lies and uses false data and testimony? Then what it would do is it would speak to my ethics in the given scenario. Does that make sense, Undertorton? So it's like I'll give you a good example, right? Do you remember the case where they said, oh, but remember like the guy was like shooting at ICE and like hurt, and then they were like hurting police officers, like trying to kill police officers, right? And you remember the guy said, well, what about January 6th? What about January 6th? You gonna say that about January 6th? I'm like, yeah, actually, yeah, same thing. But see, like me being against that doesn't mean that it happened. Do you understand the logic here? Is that my logic is consistent. It doesn't matter if it's January 6th or not. So basically, like their argument that like you don't care about it because it's January 6th is like dead. Because I said that if it did happen at January 6th, then I agree that it would be bad in that case as well. It like basically speaks to a consistency in my line of logic. My morality, basically. Like my ethics and my morality are consistent regardless of the situation.
In that conflict, to then try to articulate the need for ever more government control, ever more government redistribution, ever more government power, and then to ultimately import voters.
So like if he lied, right? And I said, if he lied and, he said, oh, somebody did throw a rock at a cop. I don't know if they did, but like say like he said, somebody did throw a rock at a cop at January 6th. What now, Leaflit? I'd be like, yeah, well, I'm against that too. And then like if that's untrue, then it doesn't matter because then he just lied.
To then support that agenda, to import voters who do not believe in limited government, who do not believe in the U.S. Constitution. And that is why you are seeing now this violent insurrectionist revolt by the Democrat Party against immigration and customs enforcement. You see.
Yeah, I mean, it is a violent insurrection. That's what we're looking at here. And to be quite honest with you, Trump just took office. And my personal opinion is that even if we didn't see these anti-ICE riots, we would have seen some other sort of riot or uprising going on just because of who ascended to the presidency with a majority popular vote and electoral college victory. We were gonna see pushback in some manner from people who don't agree with how our...
The funny thing is like they use this as a like... like they always say this shit. They always go like, this is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what they always do. It's like I hear that chant like all the fucking time. And like, it's like I said, right, the deportations of illegal immigrants is a majority issue. It's not only like the presidency, like an electoral victory and an electoral mandate for like Trump. It was also by popular vote. So they can't even use their usual. Well, that's because the electoral college is a bad system. They can't even use that. Because like even under like their like what pure democracy, even under that, they would lose. It's like what are they talking about? What are they talking about? I thought this was about democracy, guys. What, do you not care about democracy now? Like, what is going on?
Electoral system works and are upset and think that Donald Trump is some sort of illegitimate president. But the difference here is that these riots and uprisings are happening in the context of President Trump doing what he was elected to do, enforcing America's laws. We already know there were protests taking place before President Trump even took office over things he hadn't even done.
Real Gerald says it was never about democracy, it's about power. Yes, I know. I know, Real Gerald. But see, like, we could basically refute their argument because that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, oh, this is about democracy. This is about democracy, guys. We care about more democracy. They're going to say that, right? And then, like, you can use that as, like, well, what about that? It is democracy, isn't it? Isn't that how it works? Right? Like,
done yet just because people were so upset that he became president at all. It sure looks like we were going to see protests this summer no matter what, about something, anything, even if it hadn't even happened yet, because people are so upset that their chosen candidate is not in the White House right now. They're very upset that an electoral and popular...
Like, what are they going to say, guys? That the election was rigged?
Popular vote majority voted for somebody they never decided that they were going to support to begin with. What do you think about that? Would we have had a summer of uprisings regardless of whether or not ICE was on this massive push in sanctuary cities? Was this going to happen no matter what? Or are the activists right? If Trump shuts down ICE and does what they want and reopens...
Here's where the logical consistency comes in, right? Where, like, I think that there is something seriously wrong with, like, our electoral system. Like, I think that it's very obvious that it's abusable. When you set up things to be as abusable as possible, then I think logically they would be abused by someone, right? And I think that the previous election was kind of sus. Like, I think it was a little sus, right? And here's the thing, is if they tell me now, well, what now, Leaflit? What now, Leaflit? Do you think that the new election was rigged? Maybe it was rigged, right, Leaflit? I'd be like, probably. I would like to strengthen the laws even now. Like, my stance on it doesn't change because Trump won, right? Like, I'm still like, I still would prefer a stronger election where, like, voter ID, like, better, like counting systems that aren't like hackable. Like, I'm for that. And this is like, they'll use the argument, well, is the election rigged now, Leaflit? Maybe, probably. You know what I mean? Probably. I mean, sure. You think it's rigged? You think it's rigged because Trump won? Well, okay, then, like, why don't we make it better? Like, you know what? I agree with you. Let's make the system better. It's like, it's not really the own that they think it is what I'm saying, basically. Like, they always think it's some big own, like some big, like, whataboutism own. And I'm like, no, it's the same thing. Like, I don't care. Like, even if Trump won, it doesn't change anything. It's the same thing with, like, how they can't parse in their minds that like if Trump was on the Epstein list and like Trump actually is like guilty of all the Epstein stuff, they'd be like, well, what about that, Leaflit? What about if Trump is on there? It's like, yeah, well, okay, then fuck him. Like, and how is that an own? Like, if he's on it, like, yeah, release the list, and if he's on it, then fuck him. Like, what's so hard about that? Like, I don't understand like this, this sort of moral gotcha of like, they always do this, I don't understand it. It's not hard. Like, it's not hard. My beliefs are the same, like, regardless, right? And that's why I struggle with something like yesterday when I was talking about like weed. Like, I struggle with it because it's like, it's a consistency issue, right? Like, if I think weed is bad, then like, do I also think alcohol is bad? So like, I have to parse in my mind, like, what would make alcohol good, but weed not? Because they're like similar, right? So you'd have to like kind of like think about it, and like, then you could eventually reach a consistency. Like, for instance, if I said, and I talked about this yesterday. I'm just making like this up. This isn't like what I believe or anything, but this is just like kind of making up possible scenarios. If you were to say like, well, alcohol can be used culinarily, right? And then the other side could say, well, weed can also be used culinarily. That's true, right? So then you would have to like think deeper about it. Like, okay, well, maybe it's the tradition. Maybe there's like a long-standing culinary tradition around alcohol where alcohol is required for a lot of those culinary traditions, which is true. Like, there's a lot of culinary traditions around like stock making, French style cooking that require alcohol. So you could say that like that any sort of that there's not a deep culinary tradition with weed. And you could basically use that as well. Like, but my point being is that like, if you don't like think about it for more than 5 seconds, you're not going to understand like why you believe a thing, right? Because me saying like, I'm against weed because it fucks people up in the mind, right? And it's like, for instance, like, let's say use the argument that weed is addictive. I don't know if weed is addictive. I don't know if that's true, but let me use that argument like as an example. If you were to say like, well, weed is addictive, it's like, yeah, well, so is cigarettes, so is alcohol, right? So is porn, so is video games, right? It's like the same thing, right? And that's why you have to like kind of parse through like why you think that, and then you might be wrong. You might come to a point where you're like, okay, you know what? Actually, anything I would be against with weed applies to everything else that I don't want to be banned. Everything else that I don't think should be banned. So then you would change your mind, be like, you know what? Actually, I think I was wrong, and I actually think that it's fine then. Do you see what I mean? Like, how do you understand what you believe if you never put it to the test? You never think for more than 5 seconds about the roots of like what you believe in, like where that is rooted in like your worldview and your ethics. And if you never do that, you'll never understand. And this is why you have cases where like left people, right, will make a statement and then you argue against them, and then it doesn't make any sense. It's complete nonsense. It has no roots in reality. It has no consistency. And then the instant you actually push them on it, they run away. Every single time they run away because like they can't actually face the argument ever. They can't, because they would reveal the self-serving nature of their beliefs, and that the belief only is rooted in one consistency, and that's is it good for me, right? And then they don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that they only care. You know, I would honestly respect it if leftists were like, yeah, you know what? I care about illegal immigrants because fuck Americans. Honestly, like, fuck them. And like, I want political power, and like, you know, fuck that shit. Like, if I can get all the illegal immigrants to get amnesty, and then like vote for me, and then I will always be in power, and then like I could make like conservatives do whatever the fuck I want, I would honestly respect that. I'd be like, okay, fair enough. At least you said it, right? Like I think that's fair, right? Like, I mean, at least you understand why you're doing it. Fair enough, you're a dickhead. Okay, like, now let me think about how to destroy you politically, right? It's respectable in a way that like at least you're honest, right? Most of them don't even consciously know why they hold a position. Yes, it's true.